Yo, let's talk about this Eminem XXL interview. We kind of talked about the fact that he had the cover last time, and the interview hadn't been released yet.
Correct.
Um, Eminem talks about a lot of things in this interview. I
He
don't
does.
really know where to start. What did you take away from the interview?
It felt like he had autonomy because it felt like he was able to just give them whatever it is that he wrote or he put together, and it doesn't appear to have much editing, and the timeline sometimes is choppy and shaky. That's the technical side of me coming out. It just likes to I like reading stuff that excites. I like shit that excites me. So it's like I like when a writer puts the words together beautifully, wonderfully, and it flows. This was kind of choppy and fragmented. Some of the dates are kind of like questionable in terms of the in and out. And so what I really got from the actual writing side of it is that he got full autonomy to pretty much say what he wants, which almost never happens for an MC. And that's why I'm saying that it's like, well, unless you're Jay, you don't get to pen like whole letters where you control the whole narrative and get to put it out in a media publication.
Right.
They're going to edit and skew it some of how the way that they need it skewed. You get what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right.
he's getting to speak with the freedom that I've only seen Jay speak with in terms of penning a sort of interview, because it doesn't feel like it's an interview at all, because the interview has questions.
Right.
Okay, so this isn't an interview.
This is
That's the
kind of,
first thing.
and it's interesting you say that because it's kind of like
This is a letter to the editor.
this is
They
a
just tried to frame it
reintroduction,
differently.
right? Like this is where
This,
M is now. I feel like he's kind of trying to reintroduce himself to the world in a sense because let's be honest. I mean, elephant in the room. His legacy with all of this internet talk and people talking about they don't play his music, he's not this and that. His legacy has taken a bit of a hit over the past 5 years, and I would say that Lord Jamar and some of his sentiments that a lot of us agree with, myself included, have had a lot to do with that. And it feels like a lot of this in this interview is combating some of those sentiments. One thing that really stood out to me, and I think I sent this to you as soon as I read it, is when he said, and this is me circling it for Coop, he was talking about the fact of, where he wants to be as a rapper. He said, he was talking about basically, my writing process is different now than it was back then, or back in the day. It used to be give me whatever piece of paper is laying around, and I'm gonna write some ideas down. Sometimes I wish that I could have that freedom back. At the beginning of my career, I had this whole canvas that I could paint on. I haven't made songs about this, songs about that. I can make a song about this. The more I paint on that canvas, all of a sudden you've made a song about every single thing that you could fucking possibly think of. So I
it's
start
not
getting
true.
in my own head. Go ahead.
That's not true.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I mean. Is it's like an editor is going to take that and flip that and turn that, because it's just, that's not a true sentiment. Like music is always going to exist because there's always a way that people have, you internalize it and express it in your way. It's no idea is original. There's nothing new under the sun. It's never what you do, but how it's done. Right?
Facts. He said, and then this is the part I found interesting. If I had a choice between being the best rapper or making the best albums, I'd rather be the best rapper. That's how I rap, to be the best rapper. I've always thought, again, I thought, speaking of criteria, because we were just talking about criteria, I think one of
Right.
the best, I think one of the criterias of being the best rapper is making the best albums, right? Isn't that why we harp on people's catalogs? Isn't that why
Well,
we, post images of, what people have done album for album? Even that debate you and I just had about ATLians and It Was Written is about the albums. So I don't
well,
really understand that statement per se. How are you the best rapper, but not focusing on making the best albums?
okay. So what I would tell you is just that, I mean, and I'm literally like writing it down. I'm like, no, like all of these guys have like multiple classic albums. Like I'm writing out the top 10 that we usually make. And
Right.
right now, once you listen to this, it's like, well, obviously, there's the two, Nas and Jay. It's like, well, they have so many classics and borderline classics. It's not fair to everybody else standing here. Rakim, I mean, Mike, you got 3, maybe 4 classics in some people's minds. Definitely 3, right?
Right.
KRS got probably 2 group classics, 2 solo classics, maybe 3 group classics and 2 solo. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Scarface got what, 3 classics at least? Some people think 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Mike, Ghostface got 3 classics. Some people think maybe 4 or 5. Mike, Ice Cube got 3 classics. Yeah. So, it appears, I mean, who else do we got like in that top 10-ish area that I'm missing?
Well, I want to say something before I lose my train of thought, though.
Go ahead.
You know who focused on being the best rapper and not making the best album? Cannabis. And he got crucified for it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
those are facts.
Why isn't this the same energy or the same balance?
Okay, so can I tell you something, Mike? And this is what I mean about how I don't like this statement. Well, after those guys that I just named, I never know where to go, because part of what separates those guys clearly for me is that they are all clearly in possession of 3 classics.
Yeah.
Okay? And then we go to Biggie and Pac. You feel me?
Right.
And so it's like, well, damn. Pac got 3 classics too.
Let me go to the super chats real quick.
And then there's Big Mike, who made 2 albums and they're classics. So it's like, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, that's 9 of the 10 right there, Mike. And it's like, no, they all got heavy hitting classic album material under their belt. Don't tell me that. Because now you're disrespecting people's top 10s.
Because at the end of the day, especially when we talk about the great groups in hip hop, they have multiple classics too.
We're having this Tribe and Outkast fight because we both know that they have how many classics? Definitely 3.
At least 3.
Correct. That's why we're having the fight on Patreon.
Jay Short with the super chat says, people sleep on Me Against the World as the best lyrical album ever. You have to be prepared. You have to prepare your ears because the bars has a purpose. It's a listening experience. Let me get to some of the other super chats as well.
Content-wise, he might be right.
Yeah.
Content-wise, as far as the content, there's not more content on one rap album in terms of somebody explaining who they are, what they're going through, and providing you the details of it like Me Against the World. So if he wants to talk lyrical content, yes.
Dear Mama's on there. Man with the super chat says, M looks like a human Chucky doll on the cover. LOL. 007 with the super chat says, it was written was better than Reasonable Doubt. Do the rundown again. Play the ish live and analyze the evidence, please. 007 is going hard on that one. CJ Kidd says, my mind's set. Sun got wet. I'm vexed, really.
Snacked up his Rolex. Smacked this bitch silly. When niggas acting ill, word to Willie about to feel it.
I feel it.
We should have been dealt with it.
CJ Kidd with the super chat says, I peep you frontin'. I was in the Jeep, sunk in the seat, tinted with heat, beats bumping.
Behind the street, you was wildin', talking about how you ran the island in 89. Laying up, playing the y'all with Crazy Shine. I've listened to this stuff so much, I don't even listen to it anymore, and it like just comes back to me. That's what I mean. It's that shit grew a lot of us up. You know what I'm saying?
CJ Kidd says, top 5 hip-hop collectives. Question mark. Yeah, we'll get to that too. Jay Short says, after Eminem fans and the media failed to coup to make him the GOAT. Failed the coup to make him the GOAT of hip-hop. This is damage control. They didn't expect the pushback. That's what it feels like. It feels like, and that statement, to piggyback off of that whole statement about I'm focused on being the best rapper, not making the best albums. Now, I know that songs make albums. I feel like that is damage control on the notion that people are saying that folks don't play any of his music. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so now when somebody says that, an Eminem fan can say, well, he's focused on being the best rapper, not making the best albums. And
okay, so guess what I'm about to submit to you? If that's your real premise, because listen what I'm about to say. Look at the names we just listed off. And this really is a lot of people's top 10. It's Nas, Jay, Rakim, KRS, Scarface, Ghostface, Ice Cube, Biggie, Pac. That's 9, right? So if he's worried, he's talking about song for song, right? Right?
Well, he said he's talking about making being the best rapper, No, he's talking about being
Best
the best
rapper.
rapper, not making the best album. He didn't say anything about song, but again, we know
See, this
songs
is
make
what I mean.
albums.
He has to be talking in song format because if you're not being concerned with your album expression, that means every time you spit a verse on a song, that's your concern is to make the record dope, correct?
He didn't say that.
That's
being
what
the
we're going
best
to have
rapper.
to infer because it's like, well, how else are you going to express that unless you're going to make songs, right?
I think it feels like it's being expressed in a way where I'm just being a rapidy rap cipher type of situation.
No, see, I'm not going to let you do so you don't get to move the goalpost because here's the thing about it. I just named 9 guys, but here's the guy that you probably want at number 10, and I would probably take him at number 10 too, and his name is LL Cool J.
Yeah.
And why would we have him there? Because he's a great what?
Songwriter.
He a great what, Mike?
Yeah, he makes great songs.
How many hits do LL got? Have we talked about how he's the real problem in all this? Because nobody has. How about this?
Nobody's going to go hit for hit with LL Cool J.
Biggie and Pac may have bigger hits, but don't nobody got the line of hits because he knows how to make a fucking dope ass song.
In every era.
We ain't even gonna get the era, none of that. And so what I'm trying to say is that any way you want to try to move this goalpost, you can't move it because people like LL exist who you and I sometimes question how classic his classic material is. And we have people older than us come check us and be like, I said radio was a classic, Coop. I'm 51. I came from South Jamaica. Radio's a classic, Coop. I'm like, okay. My cousin checked me about not calling radio a classic. He was like, if you ever say live on air again that radio's not a classic, I'm gonna smack the shit out of you next time I see you.
Radio's a classic. No, I was telling you that. I was like, radio and bad.
We're good. Nope. All apologies. We're good here. So in LL, we have somebody that has classic albums because some people swear by Bigger and Deffer and I'm Bad and feel like he has 3 classics too on top of the hits and song making.
Yeah.
Now you tell me where Eminem fits into the canon of the 10 people we just mentioned, and that's without going to guys like Slick Rick, Cool G Rap, Big Daddy Kane, Kendrick Lamar, Jadakiss, Raekwon. Can I interest you in Redman? Maybe Snoop Dogg.
Speaking of Snoop, I didn't like how it was presented like him and Snoop had a problem. All Snoop said was everything that we all say. I could live without Eminem's music. That's not somebody having a problem with you. They just being real. And Snoop's from the 80s. The guys he grew up on is Slick Rick. Guys he grew up on is Kane, Rakim. And he sees you as the guy who came in that Dre took in to work with. He saw this stuff get put together. He wasn't blown away, obviously. And when Kendrick came in, what did he do? He crowned Kendrick, right?
They all had a show where they crowned him.
Exactly.
They were all there.
Exactly. And he did that on his own. So I don't like how they try to create this narrative that him and Snoop had a problem. It's no problem. Your music just doesn't hold up with the rest of these guys. And you just said it here. Your focus is like, if I had to choose between being the best rapper or making the best albums, I'd rather be the best rapper. I don't really know what that means other than the fact that making albums and making great songs isn't the focus. The focus is how many syllables I can put. How many syllables I can put in this verse and how many rhymes can rhyme with the next rhyme and the next rhyme.
So this is why we're not about to let him run from that. And I'm about to tell you why. I want you to listen to this. See, we're going to go back to the GOAT talk conversation. Do you hear any Eminem guest appearances that were like the guest appearances that I was telling you that Jay didn't have? It's like, remember I was telling you, Jay don't have no eye for an eye verbal intercourse. What do you think he has? It's like, see, when you got to start putting it on a scale and really start weighing it out. When it's hard for somebody like Jay to have the classic guest appearances that Nas has, like Live at the Barbecue, verbal intercourse. What you think M got? So when he's talking about being the best rapper, it's like, No, what you're talking about is Nas. That's why Nas is the best rapper, because what you're even talking about doing on record, you're either talking about it in song and hit making format. If you're talking about song and hit making format, that's LL. If you're just talking about just showing up and showing out, well, that's Nas. Live at the Barbecue, Fast Life, Eye for an Eye, Verbal Intercourse. Your shit don't read like that. Nas shit read like that. That's why Nas is the GOAT. So if that's your focus, then the measure is Live at the Barbecue, Verbal Intercourse, Eye for an Eye, Fast Life. You get what I'm saying? It's like, show me the evidence where you got that.
I guess you could say Patiently Waiting, Dead Wrong. Don't Push Me. I'm trying to go through
verses that's what I'm saying, Mike. You're naming those verses versus Verbal Intercourse and Live at the Barbecue. It's like next, because that's not even Murdergram or Blackout level.
Well, no,
that's
no. Jay has way
that's not even
better
Jay's level.
Verses. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like you got to, and all I've always told you is that, no, I've always thought that he's a dope rapper, and I still do. I just think this scale needs to be weighted out fairly about where he really deserves to be appropriately ranked. And because he is white, there has been some slight privilege involved with his placement, because he sold so many records and moved so many units because of his whiteness. And we have to stop ignoring that, and we have to start ranking him and rating him for the MC that he is.
Well, now, he said in this
based
article,
on your rundown, Mike, he's got one in a possible for a classic, and so that makes him a top 25 to 50-ish MC.
Ryan Gillum with the super chat says, "How do you guys feel about Ab-Soul's new song? It was cool.
It was cool.
Yeah,
right.
I like it. So okay with I expected a lot.
Just okay with it.
It was okay. 007 says second verse on Smoking is straight poetry, and a personal favorite. Spit that ish live, Coop. My nigga smoking with one lung. If he cough, he might die. Yeah.
The liquor bottle's almost empty. We about to collide with the enemy. Only way you die if it's meant to be. You fucking with the general. No discussion is the principle. We busting it's the end of you. Now we knocking on your mama door like we came to fix the sink. My kind of war. Death, angels running from you. God, I ain't listened to that shit in forever.
Right.
Spirit force running from your body like Young Guns 1 and 2.
Yo, he was
paramedics fighting for you. Who's gonna win? The hands of time or the hands of medicine?
Yo, he was killing Stillmatic, man.
He was killing Stillmatic. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. You don't like smoking. It's like, man, his bar game crazy on Stillmatic, like throughout. Hey, I'm just letting y'all know. See, okay, so Mike, I'm gonna just little side note. Some of the things that happen when you're in the woods and it starts getting cold outside. Birds start flying in and making nests in the basement. We have another bird sighting in here today. I already had to fly one young bird out. I think somebody's laid a nest of eggs in here, and the birds are starting to hatch and come out. I'm not joking, because I had to shoot one out the house today, and there's a couple over here. I think that I can hear rustling like the eggs are literally hatching.
Oh, well, take care of what you got to take care of when you got to take care of it.
I mean, if y'all see me bust a move, if you see me bust a move and take the laptop upstairs, you know what time it is.
CJ Kid with the super chat says, "Mike, I love when you read the super chats, and with the smile say we'll get to that too and breeze through. Love your show, best show ever. Appreciate the love, man. We love the love." CJ also says, "Coop, would you feel confident repping Nas in a Nas versus LL Cool J versus?" Never knock a brother. I'm anti-jail for real. Smooth criminals still locked in the human flesh shield. I love that.
Because I got shit like Death Row East now to play. You understand? Only because I got shit like Death Row East to play. Next question.
Say, I never knock a brother. I'm anti-jail for real. Smooth criminal skill locked in the human flesh shield. That's my song. Dice game. Crazy. I see me as Hasi Selassie in my kingdom. Sipping Aspe Spumante. Jeez. A writer's writer, man.
He'll write it 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. He will literally write the same song 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, who can do that? Katie with the super chat says, M is an example of someone who's got a 10 in technical skills and a 10 in impact, mainly because of white people, but complete 0 in subject matter plus discography.
No,
I don't think his subject matter is bad.
No, he's a live candidate. How about this?
Yeah. I think his connection's low. I don't think the subject matter's low because he talks about a lot. I give him
the subject matter's there.
Yeah.
Quality of subject matter could be questioned.
I got you. I agree with that.
The quality of the subject matter can be questioned, but whether there's variety in subject matter cannot be questioned. How would you rank him in relationship to the people who you gave the album of the year to? And that would be Yasin Bey and Talib Kweli. Where is he as an MC in comparison to them? Because I've told you neither one of them can be viably in my top 20 about their catalog.
Both of them are
and
better
they've
than
made
him.
and their catalog's better than his.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's no question. Jay
Right.
Short
So
with the
Yasin, so hold on, Mike. So where is he really? Is he better all time than Yasin or Talib?
No.
Because I don't have either one of them in my top 20 because their catalog hasn't spoken to it.
Well, he's not better than them.
So he's not top 20.
No.
But he gets talked about in the breath of Big, Pac, Jay, and Nas, which is literally
But who talks about him?
Media.
Exactly. Jay Short with the super chat says, if M just wanted to be a rapper, where's the mixtapes? Good question.
Those are
if you want to just rap, yeah, I mean, if you want to just rap and making albums aren't important, where are the mixtapes?
Jay Short is the detective in the room that says, well, how are we going to say that when we don't have no evidence? We need to go get some evidence.
Mad Max with the super chat says LL's top 4. He said LL's top 4, Pac, Nas, Ra, and L. I'm 26 and Go album was fire. I remember when the Go album dropped, man. Ill Bomb was crazy. Ill Bomb had us thinking that LL had turned over a new leaf.
Ill Bomb's a classic.
It is. Okay. So a lot of this stuff in this interview was about competitiveness and competitive nature. He was talking about he looks to people like Kendrick and Cole. I think he named Joyner Lucas and Big Sean's. Like he wants to see what they're doing because he wants to compete. Again, being the best rapper. He's not backing down on being the best rapper. But with all this competitive talk, he still hasn't responded to the games, the Black Slim Shady. That's one thing. But I think that how can you be the best rapper if albums and making songs aren't important and you're not willing to jump into that battle rap ring? Because it sounds like from a competitive level, he's handling this like a battle rapper because he said he didn't care about his sales. He said he wishes he could trade his sales for, I guess, respect or something like that. But you need to have the
it's
music
easy to say that.
Connect.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's what everybody says after they've made all the money and sold all the records. They never say that before.
Exactly. I agree with that 100%.
Now, here's what I did like. No, I did find this to be slightly true, though. Him and Royce are obviously stylistically wise, especially early Big Redman fans. And when he brought up the fact that they talked about how Redman was just going gold and keeping it street, and how it changed so fast from that. No, I really believe that happened to him. Like, because here's the thing about it. People forget, too. He got to the league a little late, technically, for a rapper, too. Well, he's 24.
Yeah.
He's already like, and unfortunately for him, because here's what I mean about he's not short on subject matter. Well, when you're 24 and you're coming from an inner city and you're impoverished, well, chances are you've been in some sort of dysfunctional sexual relationship and you probably had a kid. Well, he had both. He was not short on subject matter.
Yeah, he lived life. This is what I will say, though. I hear what he said in the interview, but it contradicts everything that followed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, okay, the Slim Shady LP, that could be viewed as a record where, okay, I didn't try to go out there and sell, even though I still think he did. But he didn't approach this from a I want to go gold mentality. And like you said, now it's after the fact, after you've sold more than everybody, after things didn't kind of turn out from a respect level that you thought they would because of those numbers, now you want to trade in all of that for the respect. You know what I'm saying? Like he was out there with the blonde hair, he dyed his hair blonde, the contacts and all that. You did everything you needed to do to sell. You didn't approach this from a raucous way. You had the raucous pad.
Here's what I will tell you to play devil's advocate to that. Mm-hmm. Well, what he's speaking to in terms of how he's behaving, in terms of how he's not feeling the love or feeling the respect, that would kind of coincide with Wendy Day's story about how he got signed, now wouldn't it? Because it's like people weren't like because he's coming like, no, I want you to listen now. He's talking like emotionally from a place of not feeling respected. He's already been around for a minute though.
Yeah.
Like he told, like he's talking in there, letting you know, he's saying he was starting to think, excuse me, he was starting to think it wasn't going to happen, Mike.
Yeah.
That means he had been trying to make it happen. That means like things like the Rap Olympics and stuff like that had already been in play, and he had already probably been out here spending a little bit of money that he did have trying to make it shake. And he's probably, and he's all, this is what I mean, he's being low key insightful. He's letting you know, when my first album came out, I was living at Kim's place, like the baby mama's place, as in like I didn't have my own crib. I'm staying with her. So imagine living with your baby mama, but you're in her crib. You're trying to be a rapper. You're a white rapper from Detroit. The shit's not working. You go into Atlanta for a Rap Olympics and you make it all the way to the final, and then you get what I'm saying?
It was LA,
So
right? LA. The Rap Olympics was in LA.
LA, Atlanta. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. But
I mean,
I'm talking about all the circumstances that's building the frame of mind. I'm talking about the circumstances that's building the frame of mind of him talking about, well, really, after all that, it's like, well, shit, all you do just want is a gold plaque and some respect, because you can't even get that. You probably got your baby mama on your ass. You're staying at her crib. You're running around the country trying to rap.
You know what I found interesting, too? And, you know, I pay attention.
Ain't no white woman trying to hear that either. Brothers think it's just a black woman. No, the white chicks ain't trying to hear that shit either. You want to go rap?
You know what I found interesting, though, man? I think that, you know, I'm really paying attention to details and whatnot. When he referred to his first album, he wasn't referring to Infinite.
No, he's referring to the Slim Shady LP, because Infinite's not a real album. Infinite is part of the failure that's coming from him wanting respect.
But again,
he's showing his whole hand. He's showing his whole hand.
But it was it's what made him qualified to get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year. And he doesn't even consider Infinite his first album. He referred to, he didn't explicitly say the Slim Shady LP, but you could chronologically see that he was talking about Slim Shady LP, because when he started talking about the second album, he mentioned Stan, right? He doesn't even consider Infinite his first album, but the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame still found some way to do
because he knows. That's what I mean. He's showing his whole hand. That's what I mean is like the timeline is broken up, but he's letting you inside his insecurities.
It's a lot.
He really is.
Yeah.
That's why I told you it's a letter to the editor. It's not an interview. It's a letter to the editor. He's letting you inside the insecurities of all the things that built him into the frame of mind that's built him. But that's what I'm saying is like some of that frame of mind is broken because the industry kind of broke him before he ever even broke in, because he was white. And so really he had already been broken to the point before he walked in that really he was cool with a gold plaque and some success. And so listen to the juxtaposition I'm about to give you. Well, that doesn't make him too much more uncommon than that 21, 22-year-old black guy coming out of Detroit that's about to get drafted into the NBA or the NFL. Right. Very meager and meek circumstances and not a lot of big expectations. And then you throw a ton of money and fame in their face and they are not ready to deal with it. What is usually going to happen? They'll be like, man, how do they get strung out on drugs and alcohol and end up with 3 wives and 7 kids? It's like, well, you gave a 22, 23, 24-year-old that literally comes from the worst of the worst and the bottom of the bottom, all this money, power, and fame that literally happened within a 6 to 9 month period. And you're expecting them to cope with it appropriately when they haven't even dealt with the trauma of the existence that they come from?
There's a lot of similarities.
It's realistic to ask that out of human beings, and so he's showing how human he is in some of this.
You know, and I'm not saying this to be tongue-in-cheek or whatever. There are really a lot of similarities between Elvis and Eminem. You know, in the
between
sense
who? Between who?
Between Elvis and Eminem. In the sense
I don't think Elvis was Elvis in the impoverished situation that Em is in. Have you been to 8 Mile before, Mike?
Well, Elvis was in an impoverished situation. I don't know what the part of Memphis he was in was like
where was he
in the 1950s, but he grew up around black people. You know what I'm saying? So
No, he was in Memphis, Mike, so he grew up around black people, but where was he in Memphis?
I'm not sure. I can't speak to where Elvis was in the 50s, but what I will say is
Memphis funny.
I would say this. I think that both of them come from humble beginnings in a sense where they didn't see how big they could be, but everybody who was involved with them knew where they could take them. And when they got there, it all happened so fast for them. You know what I mean? I don't think Eminem was prepared to be the biggest rapper in the game. You know?
No, see, Mike,
I don't think Elvis was even prepared for being
Eminem and Elvis, I'm sorry. Eminem and Elvis aren't special in that regard. Nobody's ready for that.
Yeah, nobody.
There
can
was no
prepare
sort
you.
of build up, Mike. Like even let's go back to Nas again. Well, no. We first heard Nas in '91. We didn't hear Illmatic to '94. No, he had time and build up. No, it literally went one day from this dude being at his baby mama house to being in the studio with Dre.
He said 3 weeks.
It happened that fast. You think that you know? I mean,
He
this is
said
what I
it
mean. I'm
happened
gonna
in
play
3
devil's
weeks.
advocate. Don't tell me that you're prepared for that type of life change. You're sitting up here probably in a trailer in Detroit, and then you're in a studio in Sherman Oaks, California a few weeks later. Like, no, you're not ready for that. Like, don't tell me you're ready for that at 24. I was in Cali when I was 24. I wasn't ready for Cali at 24. That's part of how my ass ended up back here at 26.
CJ Kid with the super chat said, better song and concept and execution, I Gave You Power or Rewind?
Both.
I'm going to say
no,
Rewind.
No, really. It was written. I Gave You Power is the concept because he took a concept from both, but he made I Gave You Power more of his song. If you're familiar with the movie Memento, you know that Rewind is a straight music version of Memento, whereas he took I Gave You Power and made, what was that, Organized Confusion song?
A Straight Bullet.
He took Straight Bullet and made people forget Straight Bullet existed. You know what I'm saying? Memento still exists and is movie-wise a classic. Rewind.
Jay Short with the super chat says, Son's backwards flow. They say mine is very scary. Smell fear
like a canine when it finds buried babies. And all of y'all wear the same aroma. Want to learn how to blow on your 8th LP? I show you. You whack nigga, face it. In the history of the game, you have no placement. That's Nazareth Savage off Streets Disciple.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I think it's some more super chats we want to get to. Durant Swan says, LL said his album done executive produced by Q-Tip. I'll believe it when I hear it. Q-Tip's never done with an album. And I say that respectfully. You're my favorite artist. Jay Short with the super chat says, notice M didn't name contemporaries as his competition. Well, I guess he couldn't, right? There's still a Black Slim Shady out there. CJ Kidd says, Coop, what do you think would have happened to Nas's career had he signed to Murder Inc. When he was supposed to? Need that breakdown.
I think he was just sidestepping all the Fed stuff because he's seen, Supreme and all that.
Did you see the documentary?
Like, oh, no, we won't be doing that.
Did you see the documentary yet?
No, I haven't. All right, that's what we're doing next. I'm doing the documentary next. When is the documentary done so we can do like a documentary recap?
Yeah, it's done. Yeah.
I'm going to go binge watch it.
Yeah.
What's it on, BET, you said?
Yeah, it's on BET.
Of course.
What I think is interesting, though, and I think Jay Short said something about him not mentioning his contemporaries as competition. I don't understand how can you be competitive if you're not concentrated, and I hate to be repetitive, on making albums. I don't get it. Where's the bar? What are we basing this on?
Hold on. Imagine 50 having this mindset while he was making mixtapes before he got signed. What was the whole point of signing to M and Dre?
Exactly.
It was to make the biggest possible album. Because he was already doing mixtapes and making music and songs. He was already getting love. Think about this. 50 was getting crowned king of New York while Nas and Jay were running around and were viable.
This is the thing, man. And I'm glad you mentioned 50. A lot of rappers that come from a certain area, black rappers just have to dumb down their flow. Jay's done it. 50 did it. 50 rapped different before he was trying to actually make radio-friendly material. That's the 50 I love, Mike. But I'm just saying, it's like everybody has to do this. So it's like...
The guy before?
Yeah.
The guy before? Oh, that guy could rap his ass off, Mike.
He could still do it. He just knows how to put what he's doing in a more palatable format.
He's still great, but that guy was a queen spitter.
It's about connecting, though. You know what I'm saying? And I think that what Eminem doesn't realize, or at least he doesn't highlight, he benefits from the fact that the label will put a song like Stand out for you in 2000. When Jigga has to go out there and make Give It To Me. They're not gonna put out.
Right.
They're not gonna put out this "Can't Be Life" with Jigga. You know what I'm
Well, how
saying?
about this? No.
They're
Here's
not
what it
gonna
is.
make a music video for Rewind. You know what I mean? Like he has to
Here's the
make
reason.
"Got Yourself a Gun."
No, I'm gonna tell you what. You want to know what actually happened with Eminem, especially on the first two albums? Well, they put a lot of his best stuff out that could be put out. Like The Way I Am and Stan are arguably the two best songs on the Marshall Mathers LP. Well, they got put out, but they got put out for a reason. Those songs aren't traditional singles, but the music is great.
Yeah.
The same thing with Guilty Conscience. Do you really think that they wanted to use Guilty Conscience, or was Guilty Conscience the best thing that they heard on the Slim Shady LP?
This is the thing though, Coop. I feel like for a lot of rappers, that just never happened for them. Like they'll put out the candy shit, and then it's like the stuff on the album is the meat. Well, with him, he was able to put out these songs as hit records.
Let's go to the counterpart that he signed in 50. It's like, well, 50 got to make In the Club.
He does.
21 Questions.
Yeah.
And Candy Shop. And I Get Money.
Yeah.
He's got to do those records. He can't come out and make something like
Baltimore Love Thing or something
Baltimore
like
Love
that.
Thing. I was thinking the Hustler's Ambition off of Young Bucks album. You remember Hustler's Ambition? I'm a bona fide hustler.
Mm-hmm.
And Hustler's Ambition. Yeah, bona fide hustler, Hustler's Ambition. Oh no, he can't drop them records as singles. That was the most fire shit though.
Well, Hustler's Ambition from the Get Rich or Die Trying soundtrack is one of his best songs. But again,
might be his best
he
song.
was only able to put that out in the concept of a movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I could crack in the kitchen. They call me Chef Boyard 50.
That was his Lose Yourself. And actually, I think the song's better than Lose Yourself.
See, he has to do Wankster in the club, though. That's what I'm saying. He can't do Many Men.
They put Many Men out, though. But they didn't put it out, yeah.
Right. He has to do In the Club. Go.
Yeah.
Go. It's your birthday. He can't do Many Men. Many men. Wish death upon. Like, he has to drop In the Club and 21 Questions first. You feel what I'm saying? M just gets to do what he wants. And that's that Priv. That's that Priv.
I'll tell you what.
If
Get Rich or Die Trying was Eminem's album, What Up Gangster would have been a single. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the kind of shit that he gets.
The hard shit on 50's album. You want to know what we did? We said fuck it and made the hard shit on 50's album a single anyway. It's like we're playing What Up Gangster and Many Men anyway. Back Down was getting played in the club, Mike.
Yeah. Look, if Eminem made the Blueprint, You Don't Know would be a single. You know what I'm saying? Like we would have a video for You Don't Know. And I think that he needs to appreciate the fact that he was able to put out records like that and they be able to have the legs that they had. Because most rappers in 2000 weren't able to put out a song like Stan and it'd be a hit. You know what I mean? Like a concept record.
Can do that now.
Yeah. CJ Kid with the super chat says, do you feel like Nas would have helped against the Aftermath Shady G Unit onslaught? Nah, he wouldn't have gotten all that.
Right.
Nah. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, M wants to be the best lyrical miracle rapper, but doesn't seem to understand that if it isn't palatable for hip hop fans, then the rapidy rap doesn't matter. That's it. Bottom line. I mean, we don't care about the syllables and all that. That's cool. We'll care about Kane's syllables when he made Ain't No Half Stepping. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to make a song that people can get with, that connects.
Right.
So, yeah. But, yeah, I think overall it was an interesting interview, and I think that a lot of the things that you guys have been saying, the grassroots, is the reason why this interview even happened. Because I don't think he even has an album in sight, so I don't even understand where this is coming from other than the 25th anniversary of XXL. But, I mean, that doesn't mean too much to him, I would imagine.
No, I told you, Mike. They need each other because the record is getting to skipping and slowing down. And there are MCs like J. Cole, and there are people like According to Hip Hop that do podcasts now. So things are changing for XXL, and they're changing for Eminem. And so what they're doing the same thing that they see the major business entities do before them, and that's get together to keep their staying power along as long as they can. And that's business, and it's good business and smart business. They're both, the business acumen is high on both sides because they're both in a place of needing each other and using each other, and that's exactly what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But quote Shaquille O'Neal and Biggie Smalls, you can't stop the rain.
The only
When
thing
it
that can
starts
stop
to
this
fall.
is great music. I mean, we saw what Magic, and not to go back on the Nas tangent, what
No, he's the reference
Magic
point. He's
and
the GOAT. That's
KD
why he's the
too.
GOAT, because he's a reference point for all this shit.
I mean, good music, just like, in any sport, great play on the field can silence everything. You know what I mean? Winning silences everything. So all M got to do is just go out here and put out some great music. That's it.
Okay, so no. So hold on, you just made me think about something. Think about what Biggie Smalls did on a track with Shaquille O'Neal. Like, you can't stand the rain as a hip hop classic because Biggie spazzed on a level where it's like, well, that might be the greatest MC walking. You show me where Eminem's taking a talent like a Shaquille O'Neal and made a classic hip hop record where you're like, but that's that dude. We playing that record. Like, think about Obi Trice's album. Obi Trice is a 10 times better MC than Shaquille O'Neal. There ain't one you can't stop the rain on Obi Trice's Cheers, and that's a dope album. You feel what I'm saying about
Cheers.
the level?
Yeah.
Biggie can go take somebody like a Shaq and go make You Can't Stop the Rain, Mike. You're not on that level. They put you on that level. No, we just gonna sit up here. And so we're not hating. We're not being reverse racist. No, we're rating you properly.
Yeah.
Biggie Smalls can take Shaquille O'Neal and make a classic hip hop song.
We can't change the goalposts or, move the goalposts for certain individuals, and again, I'm a
here's
Jay
where the
fan.
privilege really exists is
I'm a Jay fan, and so when we start breaking down everything that Nas has done, I gotta keep it real. It's like, okay, well, he is ahead.
Well, this is what I'm saying, where the privilege is real. The privilege is actually real not only when you get it, but when you feel entitled to it as if you deserved it or if you earned it. And it's like, no, like, you already got the privilege. Now go earn the privilege.
Yeah. Do it through
You
music.
already got it. Go earn it. Like, I hear what you're saying. I don't have a problem with anything that's being said. I think you nice. I think you a dope MC. Go prove it. Like, they told, like these media publications the last 20, 25 years have been telling me that you were Biggie Smalls, Jay-Z, Nas level. Go prove it, because they got evidence. Like, think about this, Mike. Name one Eminem song that you play over You Can't Stop the Rain. That's not even a Biggie song. Name me the Eminem song that you play over You Can't Stop the Rain.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. Now think about what I'm saying when I'm saying that we don't not get even off Biggie's catalog for Biggie to fade you, and Biggie don't even have that deep of a catalog.
But what he would say is, I don't focus on making those songs. How many syllables did Biggie use in his last verse on?
The bar work is stellar on You Can't Stop the Rain. That's why we like it, Mike.
But what's the syllable count, though, Coop?
Syllable count is ridiculous.
Who cares about a syllable?
How can niggas say that I sound like them? Hello, push. No. The word. You talking about the word count? Like Lupe be talking that word count shit?
Yeah. Shoot up your days in any telling. No one cares about that. No one started talking about syllables.
How did it make you feel? Did it give you goosebumps when you heard him flow like that?
Exactly.
How about that?
Exactly. Nobody started talking about
syllables like that. It gives me goosebumps.
Nobody started talking about syllables and all that shit until M came along. That was never the bar.
All I know is when Biggie Smalls flows on You Can't Stop the Rain, it gives me the chills still. It's like, incredible. Damn, this nigga nice. Like, he's nice. Yeah. Like, to this day, Mike, I'd be like, oh, he's nice. Like, Mike, we were kids when we heard it. No, we grown ass men. I'm like, oh man, he got busy on this. Like, oh my God. No, M don't have
that. You're right. I mean, I'm sitting there going through the verse in my head. Like, allow him to limit my
name the M verse that hits you like Biggie when You Can't Stop the Rain. Like, name it. That's what I'm saying. It's like, no, like, stop that. Like, show me. I want evidence. So all I'm saying is to talk your how about this? Spit your game, talk your shit. Grab your gat, call your clip. But give me some evidence.
CJ Kid with the super chat says, scariest hip hop album you guys ever heard. Mystic Styles, 3 6 Mafia. Maybe.
I was thinking Scarface's first album.
Mr. Scarface is back?
Yeah.
It's very menacing. Very menacing.
I mean, I was like 10, Mike. It's like
even the
Straight Out of Compton. Straight Out of Compton and Mr. Scarface is back. Yeah, pick one.
Jay Short says,
I was afraid of Ice Cube and Scarface for most of my childhood.
Jay Short says M thinks he's slick. He's saying Kendrick and Cole is his competition because the bar is lowered now. His real competition is Nas, Thought, and Game. I think also to piggyback on that, I think he mentioned those names because he knows that these guys are from a different generation and they'll be honored for him to mention their name.
No, they have the multi-syllabic flow that he has too. All of them.
You know, I listen to the music, so it's like, I'm not saying I don't pay attention to it, but like you said with Big, you hear Big, and when he's doing things like what he did on Everyday Struggle, I'm not like, yo, listen to his syllable count. I'm just vibing to the record because the record is so dope. And I remember I've heard One More Chance, the remix, so many times, forever, right? But when I listen to it, even in current time, I'm like, yo, this nigga is really snapping on this record.
Because nice. Sometimes say it every time,
yeah. Sometimes records get so big and such in circulation that you forget how great the artist is on it. Like I do that with Michael Jackson stuff all the time. Like these are standards now. You hear these songs all the time, but when you really listen to them, like you're listening to any other artist, you're like, yo, this is incredible. But so I don't listen to the counts when it comes to people like Biggie. Listen, the music's so strong.
Some of these guys are so great, you forget how great they are. Mike, Dear Mama starts off, when I was young, me and my mama had beef, 17 years old, kicked out on the streets. That's how the song starts, Mike.
Yeah.
And though back at the time, I never thought I'd see your face. Ain't a woman alive that could take my mother's place. That's how the song starts. Mike, that's almost better than Eminem's whole career.
Scared to go home. But where are his syllables, though, man?
Fuck a syllable when you talking like that. And even though I sell rocks, it feels good putting money in your mailbox.
I love paying rent
when the rent's due. I hope you got the diamond necklace that I sent to you. Because when I was low, you was there for me and never left me alone because you cared for me. Fuck your lyrical syllables. Fuck your syllables.
That's better than any lyrical.
Team. Fuck your train of thought. That's that shit.
LP says
that shit right there.
LP says syllables don't mean ish if you ain't saying nothing. Agreed.
Period. You gotta be saying something with them syllables. Them syllables gotta mean something. Because if them syllables meant something, you would be the walking standard for bars like Black Thought is. Because his syllables be meaning something when he be saying it.
Yeah, because when you break down,
teaching you something sometimes, I'll be like, "What author is he talking about? What book was that again?"
Yeah, when you break down Black Thought's bars, you're like, "Oh, yo, man, this man's educating me right now."
He was educated.
Yeah,
very, very smart.
Andrew Green with the super chat says, "Being MCs yourselves, what do you think about rappers that can't pinpoint their bar structure, like Nas and Prodigy, with their writing?" Hard to tell where bars begin and end. It's interesting. When I was younger, and I guess even being from the South, I always thought it was so awkward, especially with Prodigy, when he would just switch up flow and stuff like that, and where the bar structure would change and you can't tell where it begins and ends. I've grown to appreciate that even more now. I think that's like super dope. Like sometimes, in the flow of a song, it could throw people off. Even like what Jay did on Money and the Thing, even though this is kind of different, where he was like, nigga, I don't play, my jury is light gray. Platinum, spend your life in the day. It's like, when you groove into a song, it stands out and it's like, what's he doing? But after time, you're like, yo, that's really dope. Styles P does that a lot too.
He does. No, you're right. Styles does that a lot too. Prodigy was probably the one that probably made it seem the most awkward because he would just pause and go somewhere else and it wouldn't even necessarily rhyme. And you'd be like, hold on, what is he doing? But then you go back and listen to him and be like, hold on.
Because what it is
exactly what he's doing.
They're making things connect in another way.
Right.
And it's like the basic way to do it is to make sure everything connects through rhyme. But if you're able to make things that don't rhyme or switching up a flow in the middle of something where people can't tell where it begins and ends and you're connecting in another way, that's dope.
That's him that's Prodigy on the I Shot Your remix, Mike. I conversate with many men. It's time to begin again. Forgot what I already knew. You hear me, friend? Then he stops. Illuminati with my mind, soul, and my body. Secret society trying to keep the eye on me. And then he pauses. But I'm going to stay incognito in places they can't find me. Make moves strategically the G.O.D. is sort of similar but iller than a chess player.
Jeez. That
It's like,
verse
hold
is
on, I'm
crazy.
like, what is he doing? I was like, did he just stop and say it's kind of like chess, but it's sort of similar but iller than a chess player? It's like, that doesn't rhyme with anything that he just said.
Right.
I coincide with the thinker and use my blinker, and then he pauses again. While you motherfuckers, and it's like, I was like, hold on, it's like, did he just connect it? Like, hold on, you having trouble connecting, and it's not him that's struggling.
No,
you
it's the listener that's struggling.
Right, you struggling. He not struggling. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Ohio OK with the super chat says M hasn't grazed the surface of Big L's catalog, and M's been in the game 20 plus years. Well, I think we can move on to the next thing since I don't know what to say to that. I mean, I like Big L. I wish Big L could have given us more. I think Big L, his style was so identifiable with an era. I would have loved to have heard how he would have evolved over time. Because, you know, when you listen to Cam and how his flow evolved, Mace too. And I remember Cam posted this video of him when he was 19. The way he was rhyming, very Big L-ish. You could tell all those guys were rhyming in that cadence. And all of those guys switched it up because that flow that Big L had was synonymous with an era. So I would have been very interested to see how Big L would have changed that flow up moving forward. Because I know he would have. All of his counterparts did.
Well, I'll tell you this. You want to know what was kind of funny about L? Was that L kind of had like Kane's flow.
Yeah. Updated version, kind of.
Yeah, it was kind of an updated version of Kane's flow. And so that's why when you hear them on Platinum Fuss, it's like, oh, that's beautiful, because it's like you can tell where he got his style from. But so think about it. But he's in Harlem with that style. You feel me? And he's actually taking the style that Kane took, and the dudes in Harlem is following it. And so think about it. When you're hearing his first album, oh, well, think about who's on there. Cameron, Mace, Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
And so when you're hearing Jay on Reasonable Doubt, had niggas thinking I was from uptown for real. I had so much hustle. Plus I was down the ill. Like a Brooklyn nigga, straight up
out of Brownsville. Down and dirty. Down to fight the round 30. Jeez. Jay with the balls. Born King.
What time it is, Mike? That's what I'm saying. Mike, do M got shit like that we can just recall off the top of our head and go recite and go back to and be like, this nigga's nice right here. You see how quick I just recited that J bar? That's what I'm talking about when you got it. You see how I recited that Prodigy bar? That's what it's like when you got it, Mike.
I'm going to say this. M is nowhere near Jay-Z's level.
Mike, I don't even know if he's Prodigy's level. That's what I'm saying. Is it's like, you talking like what level you talking about?
No, Prodigy's better than Eminem too.
Huh?
Prodigy's better than Eminem too.
That's what I'm saying.
But somebody could make a debate with it based on the records and the albums and all that stuff. But when it comes to Jay, he's not even on that level. I'm sorry. Born King with the super chat says Master Killer does that in his verses sometimes, and it doesn't rhyme, but it's still fire. He's right. Master Killer does do that.
My mob is infamous. It's like a fucking title ring. You get back slapped so hard, make your nose bleed. I'm like, that doesn't even rhyme. Why does it sound great? Why does it sound great? Why does it sound great? It doesn't even rhyme. Why does it sound great? What is this guy doing?
That's when you have total control of the mic. You're a master of your ceremony at that point.
Master of ceremonies. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You're controlling the situation.
36 Chambers with the super chat says, these flow switch-ups are a big reason I think that J.I.D. is one of the best MCs in the newer class of the last decade. Love it when an MC can swap rhyme schemes 6 times in a song like that, riding every pocket. That is very dope. LP with the super chat says, that's why Nas is so great. He has the multi-syllables, but the substance is still there, and he doesn't sacrifice the message for the words like others do. It's a fair point. Billy Barnes of the super chat says, snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, he's so whack. But the stanza like faculty. See, bars. Jay Short with the super chat says Biggie had the Rudy Ray Moore effect. Captivating. He did.
Right.
Biggie was captivating on the mic, and I think You Can't Stop the Rain is a great example of that. I think Victory is a great example of that. When Jay always tells that story about how he loves the fact that Puff is rhyming his heart out on there and Big's just warming up in the back. You know what I'm saying? Like, check my mic. And this and that. It's like the disrespect. And then he comes in there and kills it. I love his Victory.
Permission, you asked for permission to hit him. Yeah.
He ain't like me, hit him while his wife was with him. You heard of us, the murder of us, most shady, been on the low lately, the feds hate me.
It's the first 4 bars.
Am I killing so
late?
What
I'm trying to say, like, what the hell? Like, stop that. That's exciting. That's what I be talking about when shit get exciting. The way he starts off.
It's like, man.
He's breathtaking.
Yeah, he is. Incredible, man. Even his verse on All About the Benjamins, even though everybody has such stellar verses on there, he commands that stage with all of those great verses on there. Kim has one of her all-time great verses. Puff has his greatest verse on Benjamins. You know, Sheik might have his greatest appearance on that song. But
that
Biggie
might be his best star appearance on a song.
Yeah.
Like, as far as, like, a big record. But yeah.
But Big's like, listen close as Francis, the praying mantis.
Attack with the left, my right hand spit, Mac hand, left hand grip on the whip for the smooth getaway.
Player haters get away.
On my lead will spray.
I think the best line on that whole song is "Fuck a state pen, fuck hoes
at Penn State." Right,
what?
Bars. Fuck the state pen, fuck hoes at Penn State. Listen close as Francis, the praying mantis. It's like what? It's like what did he just do? It's like hold on, guys wasn't rapping like that. You know what that came from? That was like him, on Kicking the Door. Yeah. He was like, you seen me in D.C. at Howard Homecoming with my man Capone drumming fucking something. You should know my stilo went from 10 G's a blow to 30 G's a show to orgies with hoes I never seen before. So Jesus, lay off the notorious peanuts before I squeeze and bust. If the beef between us, we can settle it with the chrome and metal shit. I make it hot like a kettle get. You're delicate. You better get who sent you. You still pedal shit. I got more ride than Great Adventure. Eminem don't have shit like that, Mike. God damn, that nigga was nice. That's what I'm saying. When you just hear him rapping, you like, that guy. Give me that. It's like when you watch Randy Moss run and jump, Mike. It's like, no, I'm gonna take that guy. They're like, but he has behavioral problems and he smokes weed. It's like, okay, give me that guy and his little brother. Does his little brother smoke weed too? We're buying an ounce instead of a half.
I've been had skills. Cristal spills. High bills in Brazil. A lot of Miller Ice Grill. Yeah. Jay Short with the super chat says, what's y'all favorite guilty pleasure album? I love traditional hip hop, but I gotta play some from New Jack City every month.
Migos Culture. Culture One by Migos. That's always been my guilty pleasure. T-shirt, Bad and Bougie. It's like it's everything that my hip hop pure soul is against. The shit sounds so great.
I don't know if I could say guilty pleasure on any of these, but I love Honcho Jack when Quavo and Travis Scott did their album together. And it's funny, man. I was waiting on that album for like a year. And when they finally dropped it, nobody really paid attention to it, but I still listen to it. Honcho Jack is a classic. Yeah, I said it.